talking about, I already told you, they're non-conceptual. Now you want me to start going through all the other possibilities and eliminate those as well, and I can't do that, and neither can anybody else.
I'd like that.
Oh really? Well, I'd like to try my hand at this. The atheist senses it but can't name it. The theist adheres to it and calls it God. This is the problem with teleological dialectics. Dialectics, rhetoric, and logic are considered the classical art forms of discourse, which includes argumentation. And it seems as if the bridge between the atheist and the theist has to do with this tertiary, that is, the finding the green between the yellow and blue, if you will, and giving it a name, right? So that at least they have a starting point from which to discuss what it is you're going to hear these guys say.
I don't accept your premise that the two possibilities, what I said was something is either conceptual or not conceptual, and you said that non-conceptual equates to physical, and I'm saying that this is one of those things, maybe the only thing, whatever, that is not conceptual, that is also not physical. It is.
You can't offer me a third option. Logic requires.
The third option. The third option is neither.
Neither?
It is neither conceptual nor physical.
So you jump into nothingness to defend your position?
No. I'm saying they are what they are. This is an essential. And now, Matt, after 45 minutes or so, I can't count the number of times I've repeated this. So we're going to stop.
If that thing contained non-physical parts, then it wouldn't be physical. It would have these non-physical parts to it, which those non-physical parts are what are actually used in the creation of the mind, because remember, the mind is made of non-physical parts.
I never said that the mind was created by the brain.
And I never said that you said that.
Your alleged proof of the non-physicality of the mind becomes question-begging.
Parts of a mind, which means that that something must contain non-physical parts, but the brain is defined as a physical object.
Now, first of all, I was speaking hypothetically and not in terms of my own actual views. What I said was that the physical could give rise to the mind, even if the mind itself wasn't physical. Simply pointing out that the physical would then have to contain whatever it is that the mind is made of, as well as the physical, is completely irrelevant. Also, again, because I was speaking hypothetically, I never said that the mind was created by the brain.
Okay, well, here I am just drawing a head, an individual mind, and here we're going to draw the basic objective, subjective lines, kind of cycling internally, cycling externally. Over here we have a tree. Tree represents the world, those objects in the world, and then there's this thing in between the world and the mind, and there's a depiction of the world within the individual's mind. Here we have life, we have the worlds, and then I'll be outlining language, the limit of language between the world and the glyph, into the mind, back down again. And so here we're delineating mind. We're going to call this logic here, floating in the center of language, and then rhetoric. Rhetoric, the internal externality of it, and then through the language, the rhetoric. Now, here we're starting these other lines of language, and these A's to represent the dialectic. This is what I believe is often overlooked. Now, this may or may not pass through logic. So I put some basic dots there to show that it might. So up above the head, we are now going to speak of minds, plural, and we're going to make a basic analog, and alpha numeric analog, just to show what I'm driving at here. And now we're drawing computer screens. This is going to be my little network, and we're going to make an analog. Instead of a network of computers, we're having a network of minds. And this is not spoken of often in these debates. So it's plural minds. And so from these minds, we're setting up these different groups of people, and these are dead populations. So we're going to go ahead and connect them, and then we're going to kill them off. These individuals are all dead already, and then we're going to draw the oral tradition, the artifacts and oral traditions, and these are going to be connected to the living groups of individuals. So let's draw the network again. These are the contemporaries, the ones that are alive, and they're connected in their various ways. And now once again we're showing the artifact, the oral tradition, and both the artifact and oral tradition mixed. And these are associated with the dialectic. We're going to inflate the dialectic. We're going to show the different groups. Dialectics can be Western, Oriental, Native, and this is an inheritance from a history. And this by itself has a momentum in the dialectic. So we're going to draw a static circle around the historic, and then a static circle around the contemporary groups, and show the distinction here. And then some spirals showing the connection. The theist often ignores, or the theist is always talking about the history of the dialectic as it's in a dynamic calculus. They're often not able to see that what the atheist sees. The atheist often sees just the contemporary use of the language as it's existing now. Atheists look for the cause of the contemporary frame. They don't look for the substance of the contemporary frame. The theists often, within particular canons, particular dialectic histories, they assume a convergence of some sort. And so these convergences, they say, are going to happen in the world. Okay.
Going into singularity and then
spiral is the difference between the 2D static difference and the 3D, the theoretical dialectic, and showing the historic dialectic. This brings me to the conclusion, language is public, and therefore it requires a population or populations. And now logic, a lot of atheists use it, but this is just a syllogism. This is just a toolbox that we use, and it is right along the lines of rhetoric. It is not, it's tautological, and it's a device that we just happen to utilize. It is not ultimately and absolutely the case and absolutely true. It's just a tool. And all of this stems from classical art, the classical art of argumentation.
So on, right? Because that really does have some relevance to what I'm saying. Why? Because if we can imagine the entire physical universe going into singularity and then, it's non-existent practically, that means that our minds would have to be something other than what is inside that singularity.
So it is a living population that supports the tautological nature of mathematics and reason. It is a living population that supports and plays with the rhetoric. And it's a living population that intuits the dialectic or adheres to the dialectic, whether religious or non-religious. Can you see their relative positionings now?